Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Crowell.
Dear God, family tree is strength in its roots and shelter in its branches. Your willingness to stand out from the crowd, your unique prosper on what's happening in the world and in your life. The way you trust your intuition, your unfailing commitment to doing the right thing. I beg you, dear God, to protect, bless us all, absent, present, living, or deceased. Thank you, God.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ayers?
Here.
Conlon? Constant? Dasco?
Here.
Diener? Delgerno?
Here.
Duffy? Douglas Williams? Forsythe? Frazee? Fulgenzi? Guyton?
Here.
Hall?
Yes.
Krell?
Here.
Lathan? Ladonia?
Here.
McGuire?
Here.
Mendenhall?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Rader?
Here.
Skate? Shackman? Shepherd? Small? Stump?
Here.
Thomas?
Here.
Chellon? Truex?
Here.
All 29 present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I have been asked to read for welcome to our audience, and I've been asked to read the standing rules of county board procedure for the audience this evening. Notice of rules governing conduct of Sangamon County meeting attendees. Chapter 2.04 of the Sangamon County Code sets forth the rules governing the conduct of persons attending Sangamon County meetings. We recognize that legal language can sometimes be difficult to understand, so this notice provides a summary of Chapter 2.04 primary requirements. Generally, in order to maintain an atmosphere that promotes civil discourse, Chapter 2.04 requires that all persons attending Sangamon County meetings do not engage in behavior that is disruptive, disrespectful, or distracting to the conduct of the meeting. Do not interrupt persons offering public comment. Do not interrupt board members while they are speaking. Do not use loud language, shouting, cheering, booing, loud laughter, applause, or engage in other similar conduct that disrupts the order and decorum of the meeting. Do not use offensive, threatening, or profane language. Do not make gestures, display signage, or engage in conduct that intimidates or provokes or distracts others. Do not engage in actions that prevent other attendees from hearing or seeing speakers and materials presented. Do not address the board, speakers, or other attendees without the permission of the chairman. Do not exceed the time allotted for speaking. Do not address the board except with a microphone at the location designated. Be advised, county board rules allow 1 hour for public comment at the end of each meeting. Speakers must sign up 24 hours before the meeting's scheduled start, and each speaker is allowed up to 4 minutes. Excuse me, that's incorrect. Speakers must sign up by 4:30 the day before the meeting, and the meeting's scheduled start, and each speaker is allowed up to 4 minutes to make their presentation. Be advised, law enforcement personnel from the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office are authorized to remove from a county meeting any person who violates these rules. Welcome, everybody. As I indicated, we have a rule against signs because they block people's ability to see, but I can see that a lot of people have worked hard on some handmade signs, so before the meeting begins, we'll let everybody show your signs and let everybody see your signs and share your signs with everyone. Okay, thanks everyone. Now we'll proceed with the regular order of business. And the next item on our agenda is proclamations. The chair was aware of no proclamations, but we do have a presentation. I think our county superintendent of schools has a presentation.
Good evening, Chairman Van Meter and members of the board. My name is Shannon Fairholtz. I'm the Regional Superintendent for Sangamon and Mentor Counties. I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm joined by County Board Member Jen Diener, and together we present a proposal for a new initiative, the Sangamon County High School Senior Art Competition for the 26-27 school year. You should each have a flyer at your desk that outlines the details of the program. And from an education standpoint, this initiative is about creating meaningful opportunities for our students. The arts play a vital role in helping students build creativity, confidence, and communication skills, and this competition gives them a platform to showcase those talents.
From the county's perspective, this is a great opportunity to connect with area high school seniors and celebrate their unique talents. The idea is that each county high school submits 2 pieces of art created by high school seniors. One would be a 2D piece and one would be a 3D piece. This would be facilitated and selected by the school art teachers. The shared pieces would be displayed at the county building in the exhibit space outside of the boardroom and on display from December through February. At the end of that time, the winners would be chosen by Sangamon County board members, giving us the opportunity to recognize the achievements of our local students.
This effort is a collaboration between our office, the Sangamon County Board, and the Springfield Art Association, who will assist with the coordination and artwork handling. We are so grateful for all the ways that the Springfield Art Association and Director Betsy Dollar are supporting our work and the curation of local art for our exhibits.
We're asking for help from you, our county board members, to help get the word out. Sometime this week, Mary's going to email a letter. It's a draft of a letter. It's easily edited and customizable, so that if you could send that off to your local high schools, we think that might give this personal invitation, might encourage schools and high school seniors to participate. If you have any questions at all, we'd be happy to answer, or you can get with us at another time if anything comes up. Appreciate your support.
Any questions for our presenters? Okay, well, thank you very much. Sounds like a great program.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, minutes. Motion by Mr. Madonia, seconded by Mr. Belgiano for the approval of the minutes of the March 23rd, 2026 meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, the minutes are approved. Correspondence, motion by Mr. Belgiano, seconded by Mr. Madonia, to place correspondence on file with the clerk. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, correspondence to be placed on file with the clerk. Resolutions. Mr. Stump.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move to go out of order and please,
Mr. Stump, maybe move the microphone a little
Yeah.
closer so everyone can hear.
I move at this time to go out of our normal order of business and bring resolution forward 2025-019 for consideration off the table of old business.
Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Madonia. The motion to take a resolution from the table is not debatable. We proceed immediately to a vote. All those wishing to take the resolution 2 from the 3/23/26 meeting from the table and put it before the body this evening will vote yes. Opposed will vote no. The clerk will call the roll.
Ayers,
No.
Condon,
Yes.
Constant,
Yes.
Dasco,
Yes.
Diener,
Yes.
Del Giorno,
Yes.
Deppie,
Yes.
Douglas Williams,
No.
Forsythe, Frazee,
Yes.
Fulgenzi,
No.
Guyton,
Nor. No.
Hall,
Mr. Chairman, I understand from that meeting we had before a few weeks ago that to table it was not the appropriate thing to do after learning so of it, right? So I'm wanting to postpone this meeting and not table it. Am I
Mr. Hall,
doing it the right time?
Mr. Hall, you're a little bit ahead of yourself.
I'm ahead of myself?
Yes.
Okay.
We need to finish this vote.
Okay, thank you very
Okay.
much. I just didn't want to miss it.
Yeah. The question is,
I'm still learning how to run this thing.
the question is, how do you vote on the motion to take the resolution from the table?
I vote to take it off the table.
Yes, you vote yes.
Yes.
Proceed, Madam Clerk.
Krell,
Yes.
Lathan,
Yes.
Madonia,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mendenhall,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
Rader,
Yes.
Scaife,
Yes.
Shackman,
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Stump,
Yes.
Thomas, Gillen, Truax.
Yes.
Have all voted who wish? Have all voted who wish on the question? On that question, the yeses are 23, the noes are 5. The matter is again before the board.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Madonia.
I move that we move public comment up to right now before, instead of the end of the month, and then the meeting.
All right, I think it's my duty to explain that by taking this from the table, we proceed at the point where we place the matter on the table at the last meeting. So we're at questions and comments from members of the board with designated proponents and opponents available to answer questions at these tables.
Could you speak up, please?
Mr. Paul, did you want to make your motion now, or did you want to?
Yes, sir, I'd like to make the motion that we postpone this vote, but the reasoning for the postponement is that I understand that there's a difference between the tabling of something and postponement. To postponement, you have to have a date, not the next county board meeting, and I would like to make the postponement go no earlier than the second Tuesday of May, in which truly is not that long, and there's still some negotiations going on with acreage owners in the area and this proposed petitioner. And the other thing is, and I don't know if I want to put this in the fact or fiction mode, but I understand that there's some schools that are even being discussed with this, and I just don't have enough information to vote on this tonight. I know we've talked this thing to death, right, but this is so big, so important. And when I was going through our zoning books, I saw where certain issues in our zoning were 3 to 4 pages about how tall to build a fence. But on the issue, and on the issue of this data center, it's a page. I just don't think we have enough information to vote on it.
I know everyone's emotionally invested here, but please try to keep the demonstration to a minimum. So your motion is to postpone the
Yes,
matter.
it
Just
is.
to
And it has to have a second.
your motion is to postpone the matter to the regular May meeting.
Yes,
Is there a second to Mr. Hall's motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Guyton.
thank you.
The motion to postpone is debatable. Is there any discussion on the motion to postpone?
Sure.
Mr. Guyton.
Hello. Okay. So I know that this is a contentious topic. I know that some folks feel as if their lives are hanging in the balance with this. I understand. Let me also first and foremost say that I am pro-union. I really, really support our laborers, our workers. I want the best for you.
Yes.
I honestly want the best for you. And I think many of us do on this board. But speaking for myself, I do not have enough understanding of the long-term impacts that this could possibly put Sangamon County as a whole. To also add to that, I have to look at the context of things globally now. We are in a situation where we are dealing with wartime efforts. If we have not learned from World War II or World War I about the needs of feeding people, about the needs of making sure that we have steady work, about the needs of making sure that people are secure, then we have not learned anything at all, and that is a problem. It is unfortunate that we are in this position that we are right now, but we cannot afford to make reckless decisions or fast decisions without considering the long-term needs. And that is the reason why I am seconding this amendment.
Please, if we have a demonstration after every politician who speaks, we'll be here for years. All right, next. Any other discussion on the motion to postpone? Mr. Madonna.
Yes, we've had a meeting in December that lasted 5 hours, very informational meeting. We had a board meeting last week, or 2 weeks ago, the 23rd, 5-hour meeting. We've listened to every proponent and opponent's opinion. The developer has done everything right. They've followed our zoning rules, they've followed our ZBA, they passed both unanimously, well not unanimously, they passed ZBA unanimously. We are doing them a disservice by keep punting this and pushing it off.
Order.
They are right to due process. We have the new people going way too far. It's time.
Order.
You survive.
Order.
We as a board need to vote on this tonight. Thank you.
Order. Hey, folks, these outbursts are not allowed. Order, please. Let everybody speak. Is there any other discussion on the motion to postpone to a certain date? Any other discussion? Ms. Agency. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Shepherd.
That's all right. This proposed data center is located in close proximity to my district, and the impacts will be directly felt by the residents I represent. Over the past several months, I have heard extensively from those residents, and their concerns have been consistent and overwhelming, particularly regarding infrastructure, water, electricity, and the long-term impact on this rural area. As their representative, it is my responsibility to ensure their voices are heard in this process. I want to be clear, I am not opposed to growth or job creation or data centers. I believe those are important, possibly for our county. However, decisions of this magnitude must be made with full clarity and careful consideration of long-term impacts, many that we don't know. Additionally, with the Illinois State Legislature actively working on proposed regulations related to data centers, including all the things mentioned above, I believe it is both reasonable and prudent to allow that process to move forward before making a final decision of this magnitude. Thank you.
Any other? Ms. Lozanti, you wish to speak?
My comments are that I feel very torn on the subject. I think we all do. We've all been hearing from both sides. The one thing that keeps sticking out of my mind is that there are bills out there that are going to be, or legislation at the state and federal level. And if we rush this, will this company be bound by the new regulations, or will they be grandfathered in and saying they don't have to follow it? So that's one of my main concerns, because if we have, say if they're required to build power generation in a federal or state legislation, will this business be required to follow that, or will they be grandfathered because they've already started? So that's my main concern, and so I support postponing until we can get more information, more clarity on that. So that's my comment.
Any other discussion on the motion to postpone? Mr. Mendenhall.
I've represented the ag industry my entire life. And when we decided to set this up, no one went out and talked to the ag community, and all we said was it was going to benefit the city of Springfield. Well, it takes prime ag land out of production again. It could have a negative effect on seed dealers, chemical dealers, fertilizer dealers, and as we continue to do this, whether it's for data centers or solar projects, it could have a negative effect on the cash rent prices and raise them. Some farmers aren't in the mill do that, and it could put some farmers out of business. And there's several people on this county board numerous times have said the ag community is the economic driver of Sangamon County, and we've turned our back on them, and we haven't went and talked to them.
Order. All right, anyone else wishing to speak on the motion to postpone to the May board meeting? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll. All those wishing to postpone consideration till the May board meeting will vote yes. Those wishing to discuss the matter, dispose of the matter this evening will vote no. The clerk will call the roll.
Ayers?
Yes.
Conlon?
No.
Constant?
No.
Davsco?
No.
Diener?
No.
Delgerno?
No.
Deppie?
Yes.
Douglas Williams?
Yes.
Forsythe?
Yes.
Frazee?
No.
Fulgenzi?
Yes.
Guyton?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Krell?
No.
Lathan?
No.
Madonia?
No.
McGuire?
No.
Mendenhall?
Yes.
Miller?
No.
Rader?
No.
Skate?
Yes.
Shackman?
No.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Small?
Yes.
Stump?
No.
Thomas?
No.
Chumlin?
No.
Truax?
No.
Have all voted who wish? Have all voted who wish? On Mr. Hall's motion to postpone, the yeas are 11, the nays are 17. The motion to postpone is defeated. So we are back to the position of discussing the matter that has been taken from the table, and we begin where we left off at the last meeting. Mr. Madonia, did you have a motion?
I move that we move public comment to the beginning.
Mr. Madonia, you really have to speak over your mic so people in the back can hear.
I move that we make public comment, move it to the beginning of this session right here.
Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Mr. Chumlin. Very good. On the motion to move public comment from the conclusion of the meeting to this point in the meeting, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We will proceed out of the regular procedure and move immediately to public comment. Okay. Our rules for public comment allow 1 hour for public comment. We have 61 speakers who signed up to speak this evening. Each speaker under our normal rules is allowed 4 minutes to speak, but most people don't use all of that time. We take the speakers in the order that they signed up to speak. If your name is called, if you would proceed here to the podium and make your presentation. We have our crack timers who will be keeping track of time, but please, in order to accommodate as many speakers as possible, please try to keep your comments as succinct as possible. And if what you had to say is only going to repeat what somebody else said, perhaps give the time to somebody else that signed up to speak. All right. Again, taking the speakers in the order that they... Can people in the back hear me? Am I speaking loud enough? Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so we're taking speakers in the order that they signed up to speak. The first person who signed up to speak is Aaron Guernsey.
good evening. I don't think I need to introduce myself, but I am Aaron Guernsey, President of the Central Illinois Building and Construction Trades Council. You've heard my job spiel before, so I'm not going to go into it. We all know that there's a lot of work and a lot of jobs at stake here, but we've heard different things about what's going on, and this meeting is about a zoning permit. That's it. It's about getting a zoning permit. And I echo the sentiments of Mr. Madonia in that Cyrus One has done what they were supposed to do and jumped through the hoops and gone through all the rigmarole that they need. I think they also deserve a vote here. But as a reminder, the Zoning Board of Appeals voted 5-0 unanimously to approve this zoning permit. So inside that zoning permit hearing, Cyrus One put together a presentation that they were under oath and gave to that board of what went on. They were under oath. Order. Now, there was no new information brought to this board that wasn't that hadn't been put forward under oath. And the Zoning Board of Appeals, I remind you, voted 5-0 to approve and bring it to you for your approval. So, and then I heard a little bit earlier, and I had this written down anyway, that we're going to wait for the state of Illinois in an election year to come up with something. That's not happening. It's not going to happen. It's an election year. They're not going to pass anything forward, and I don't know that with what we've seen with what they've done with renewables and how they treat other county boards along the way, now that they have their rules in place, that those rules would be any more strict than what this board has already put in place. So to say that you want them to follow whatever the state of Illinois is going to do, be careful what you wish for. Because you're putting your eggs into their basket, and you're hoping for the best out of them when this board has already made rules to follow. So, that being said, I want to remind, like I said before at this meeting, our building tradesmen and women sitting behind me over there have built these data centers. Not to this scope in this area, of course. Have they been out and done it? Yes. Have they built it for HSHS, Memorial Medical Center, Springfield Clinic, Horace Mann, AT&T, all of those? We have built these data centers. We know what they're about. And I think we can go ahead and we can do this same project with the skilled men and women that are sitting behind me right back here and help move Sangamon County forward. With that, I thank you all, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Same message. Please try to keep the demonstration to a minimum so we can get through as many people as possible. The next person who signed up to speak again in order is Ryan McCready. Mr. McCready, just 1 minute.
Sure.
I don't want to use a lot of the time here, but at the last meeting was a zoning meeting, and at zoning, at that point, people are able to sign up the day of the meeting and speak. We are past that point in the zoning consideration. We finished that at the last meeting. We are at the point of board discussion, but to accommodate members of the audience who wish to address the board, the board has moved public comment that occurs at every board meeting, has moved public comment to the front of the meeting so that the members of the public can speak. And we're following the rules for public comment that attend every board meeting. So that's where we are in this meeting. Mr. McCready, you have the floor.
Thank you. My name is Ryan McCready. I'm president of the Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance, an economic development organization that serves all of Springfield and Sangamon County. What we have before you tonight is a tremendous opportunity. The reason this is difficult is because it's new. We don't have this type of development. The reason we have this before you tonight and the reason it's difficult is because it's new. And the county board should be commended for the amount of time that you put into learning about this topic. Whether you vote for it or against it, I respect the amount of time and effort and energy you put into answering all the questions, all the emails, all the letters. You should be commended for that because that's a hallmark of the Sangamon County Board forever. We're fortunate also that you've adopted rules for data centers. Many of the data center debates you hear in other communities are even more stern than this one because they have no rules. In that case, you're building the plane while you're flying it. It's difficult to figure out what's going to happen. So thank you for adopting those rules. As time goes on, you may decide to amend those rules, and that makes sense because you learn new things, you take different actions, and that's how you should be as an elected official. I'd also like to say that statements made at the Zoning Board of Appeals are under oath, and they are legally binding. And that's very important to remember. Because during that hearing, the Zoning Board of Appeals unanimously felt that Cyrus 1 met or exceeded all the standards set by the county, by the Illinois EPA, and other enforcement agencies for this project. For example, the closed-loop cooling system is not new technology. It exists in hundreds and hundreds of other buildings across our community. It's new to be applied to data centers. But that system's not flushed. The water from that system does not go out into the environment. That's why it's a closed-loop system. And Cyrus 1 is focused on preserving the precious water resources. That's why they're making important investments into Waverly Lake and the Apple Creek Water Co-op. Investments that are sorely needed. And absent a water user like Cyrus 1, those investments don't happen. Things like improvements to Waverly Lake, interconnections to provide redundant water systems. Those are benefits to all, not just Cyrus 1. Another example of a benefit to all, not just Cyrus 1, is public safety. The equipment and fire trucks they'll provide to the Verdon Fire Protection District and the training that they'll provide to other county agencies around the county. Once again, this is a benefit to all, not just to Cyrus 1. I want you to see the pattern here of the benefit for all. The emissions controls that are part of the package that Cyrus 1 has put together for this center, they are using a Tier 4 generator, which is above and beyond what the requirement is by the Illinois EPA to help control their emissions. That's a benefit to all. The electric rates that will serve this important project. With the Rural Electric Convenience Cooperative, those rates and the structure of this rate structure does not impact the other rate payers. For example, under oath, it was testified to that this will not lead to a rate increase for co-op members. That's a benefit to all. Also, the cost for extending this power is not socialized amongst other ratepayers. Cyrus 1 has to pay all these costs. That's how it works in Illinois when you have extensions like this. Once again, a benefit for all. And then jobs. These are very real jobs. Construction jobs. For individuals to say that construction jobs are temporary, they need to understand that absent Interstate 270 around St. Louis, all construction is temporary. That one seems to go on forever. But construction jobs of 5 years in length are important, and they're not temporary. And we have people testifying here at this county board that they're on the sidelines and unemployed. That's important.
That's time, Mr. McCready. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, folks, outbursts, shouting is not going to be tolerated. Heckling, laughing at the speaker in a heckling manner is not going to be tolerated. And the sheriff's officers will address the problem if you are heckling. That may be the way they conduct meetings in some uncivilized country like New Jersey, but this is the Midwest. We're polite to each other. Right. The next person who signed up to speak in order is Sam Sinclair. Mr. Sinclair.
Thank you. My name is Sam Sinclair. I'm the project manager, prefabrication manager for Henson Robinson Company. I've been in the trades for 33 years. This is really a monumental occasion to get a chance to have a construction site like this in our area. I spoke the last meeting, I think, out of frustration. So I went home and did some research on what they actually are going to do with these sites compared to farmland and noise and comparison to elevators and what actually the emissions are in these areas. It's amazing if you can do a little research that, I'm gonna follow up on Ryan a little bit real quick. Closed loop, we install the closed loop systems all the time. The water does not get drained out. It does not get refilled. You flush it at the beginning and that's your waste, that's it. And once you do that, that's a closed loop unless there's a leak that shows up and it'll be spotted right away. There is no work to that system. How many have geothermals in this community or in the surrounding communities? Every well that you have in a geosystem has glycol in the ground if you're worried about water contaminant. Every one of them. That's what it is, and they're protected. These systems are, I won't say fail-proof, but they're pretty good when they're installed the right way. Back to my comment about noise. The neighbors in that area, I understand that the noise you consider is going to be very bad, but the decibel level for a generator or a data center is under 100. It's closer to 85, which is basically a constant hum. In the industry we're in those buildings all the time by a mechanical room, and yeah, they recommend hearing protection a lot more to do it. But that is not, that noise when the generators run is loud over 110 decibels within 30 feet. Anytime you get outside 30 feet, it drops every foot you go. So that's not really going to be a concern. And then there was a comment about the emissions on the generator engines, okay? Every large building that's a life, how do I want to say it, like has a life safety issue or a hospital. Memorial Medical Center, in fact, has 7 generators on their campus. Okay, they run them once a month for a half hour. The decibel levels are not deafening. You go out to that generator, that data center site, they're not going to fire all 200 or 400 at the same time. They're going to be staggered. You're not going to have the noise that you're worried about. And just to follow up a little bit, you guys are one in the state, and I'm not going to say anything bad about the state, but these are new. I mean, they're everywhere in the country. We're working on one right now in North Dakota. So they're going somewhere. There's 2 in Illinois just passed, one in Festus, Missouri, one in Indiana. That's all farm ground. I would much rather have a building on my farm ground than 2,000 or 200 acres of solar panels that are going to destroy that farm ground and never be used again. Same way with the wind turbine. They go in there and create roads, and they dig down, put a 40 by 40 concrete pad, 13, 14 feet, 20 feet in the ground. You're never going to get that ground back. I mean, it's just they destroyed it, and that's what everybody wants. But I would rather have a building that is also helping the government, helping everybody here. So I mean, it's a win-win, and I do want to say I appreciate you guys. This is a very tough.
That's time, Mr.
Okay,
Sinclair.
thank you very much for my time.
All right, the next person, may I ask in the back, can you hear the speakers in the back? Can you hear the speakers? All right, we'll try to improve that. All right, the next person to sign up to speak in order is Ed Legg. Ed Legg. Mr. Legg, I think what we're learning is if you'll adjust that microphone so it's as close to your mouth as possible, that helps, yeah.
Such as that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So this is the first board meeting I've attended in regards to the data center, so the circus that this is a shame for the county. I've heard multiple talks about the use of farmland for a data center. This is 590 acres. Last year, in 2025, the United States exported 78 million tons of corn to other countries. And we're worried about the corn production of 590 acres. That's minuscule in the grand scheme of the production of corn in this country for food production. The closed loop cooling system that everybody seems to be concerned with, everybody in this room drove a car here. Your car has a closed loop cooling system. If you don't believe me, the radiator in your car has antifreeze in it. Drain all the antifreeze out and see how fast your car overheats because your closed loop cooling system has no fluid in it. I've been a pipe fitter in the industry in Sangamon County for the last 23 years. And this is going to be some fantastic work now for 5 years. And then the maintenance of 400 generators, however many chillers, however many pumps. This will be work for, as long as the building is here, there will be maintenance work that has to be done on a consistent basis by skilled union craftsmen every day between now and the end of the time the building is no longer available. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Delay. The next person to sign up to speak, again, in order that they sign up, is Jordan Shaw.
Excuse me, I'm just gonna. Can everyone hear me back there? Yeah. Thank you very much. Good evening, my name is Jordan Shaw. I'm a citizen of Springfield, District 20. And also, for the past 36 years, before living here, I lived in Verdon, a town where the majority of it, yes, is located in Macoupin County, but there's a teeny tiny little part of it that is in Sangamon County. So, I am speaking out of Verdon as a whole, more specifically for the citizens who currently live there and do not wish to have a data center, tomato, tomato. Now, I could go on and on about how I'm pro-union. My dad was in the union, 477. My grandparents were in the union, great-grandparents, Verdon, a lot of coal miners. I have a cousin who's in a teachers union. I have a great uncle who is in an auto mechanic union. I didn't even know they had unions, so the more you know. So to say the point blank that if you're not interested, we are not interested in having a data center, that just means we're against unions is quite factual. And I understand that because there are so many horrible things happening in the world, that there are people trying to focus on themselves, their loved ones, and the brothers and sisters of their union. I get that. But at the end of the day, this is not going to help. I know it's hard to believe, but people lie under oath. It happens a lot. I'm totally fine with the jeering and applause, by the way. I have no problem with that. But respectfully, people lie all the time when they want something really bad, like a huge data center that's not even going to be that far away from Louder. I visited Sunday. It's not that far. It's really not. I talked to people from Louder, from Verdon, from Waverly, from Auburn, from Thayer. Poor Thayer always gets left out. It's like, what, 300 people who live there? Nobody wants this. And the people who don't voice that, oh, we don't want this data center, they're already defeated because they know when the chips are down and a multi-billion-dollar company is wanting something, they're going to pay for it, and they're going to pay people off. I am hoping that union workers, the union members, the brothers and sisters who are behind me and who are probably not happy with the things that I'm saying, that's okay. It's all right, man. We work in an outlaw state. All of our jobs are temporary. My job's temporary, your job's temporary. Everybody's jobs are temporary. It's not threatening you right now. It is threatening the environment, the livestock, the residents, and the fact that so many data centers in the United States, in Illinois, are getting so much things wrong. We are trying to get ahead of that. So this is no disrespect. There's no malice. Just understand that yes, you are looking out for yourself, your own, and the siblings of your union. We are trying to look out for you as well. And literally everybody else. The world is on fire. We're trying to put it out as best we can. Thank you.
The next person who signed up to speak in order is Ricky Dial Jr. Ricky Dial Jr. Not here? Okay. The next person who signed up to speak in order is George Alexander.
Go, George.
I'll need no time. Good afternoon. I want to thank the board for allowing me to speak this evening. My name is George Alexander, and I'm the business manager for Labor's Local 477 in Springfield, Illinois. I hear a different side of the stories, and I respect everybody's opinion. But what I want to get up here and talk about is what I really haven't heard anything about that affects me dearly and to my heart, is that Cyrus One has promised money for pre-apprenticeship programs. Why that's so volatile to my union is because a lot of the workforce that's coming available now is saying that you have to have pre-apprenticeships on jobs to get federal money, state money, you have to have apprentices. I started the apprenticeship program in 2004 and it changed my life. I wasn't the one that was studious in high school or anything like that. I got married at 19, had kids, and I tried to make a living by working 2 and 3 jobs. So I'm up here to say that the union changed my life, and if Cyrus One is promising money for apprenticeship programs and things like that, I support it wholeheartedly. Another thing I want to talk about is when I started the apprenticeship program and I went to certain jobs, I didn't see anybody that looked like me. There was very few minorities on job sites, and if you look now and you go past a job site, you see an abundance of people that look like me. There's women, all different kind of races. And why I say that is because when I went to a job site, it was kind of hard to get through the day because I knew certain people didn't want me there because of the good old boy system. It's changed now. And if this company is promising to do something, I know people lie all the time. We lie every day because we're not perfect. And if you say you don't, you're lying. So I say that to say this, jobs are very scarce right now. We don't have much work going on. And I know emissions and everything that everybody's talking about, but I know that we drove here and I know there's emissions from the cars that affect us daily too. A lot of people smoke and drink and stuff like that, but I support this program. The minorities that's in my union, I will tell you this, 75% of the apprentices that I've taken in are minorities, the highest I've ever seen in 22 years that I've been in the union. So what do I do with the apprentices that are coming in when there's no jobs? Some of them have come from prison, some of them are recovering addicts, some of them are alcoholics that are trying to better themselves. Where are they supposed to go? Nobody's coming to Sangamon County to build shit.
So I say,
No foul language.
oh, but you didn't stop that last time though, right?
Yeah, I'm stopping it now.
Okay, I understand that. But be fair to everybody.
Yes,
But you haven't been.
I will be.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm just saying that I don't know where a bunch of minorities are gonna go to work if this project can go through. Thank you.
The next person who signed up to speak in order is Cecilia Wendler. Cecilia Wendler?
Hello, and thank you for asking me to speak today. My name is Cecilia Wendler. I'm a nurse, a retired Army military officer. I worked as a union nurse when I lived in Minnesota. I have union family and friends. I'm here to speak out against this. Oh, by the way, some of you on this board I've done business with, I've been neighbors with, and I learned when I was 20 the power and importance of the county commission. I learned that all the money that comes from the federal government to a county flows through you. So your work is hard and it's important. I sat through the last discussions and many things have already been said. I look to the east side at the Pillsbury building. There is a nonprofit corporation who is cleaning up after ConAg and Pillsbury. So far, $5 million have been spent, and it's still an ugly eyesore. We do not have enough information about what we're going to do when this building is decommissioned and what happens to the electronic waste that it produces. Have any of you recently tried to get rid of an old printer or an old iPad? I think those of us in the city take it to a designated place where it's carefully decommissioned. This building is the size of 12 football fields.
Much bigger.
Oh, I guess we're talking about the parking lots then too, right? We are rushing through an important decision. As a nurse, I'm concerned about all the environmental impacts. As a former farmer, I am worried about the rural lifestyle. I read the other day we have 178 of these centers in Illinois. When is it going to stop? I am certain that the project planner from Cyrus One is going to get a great big bonus when they close this. And the same with our development corporation director. Where is the money coming from? Where is it going to? Just remember your call that you are responsible for the health and well-being of the people of the county of Sangamon. Thank you.
Okay, the next person who signed up to speak in order is Brian Baskett. Am I saying that correctly? Brian Baskett.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, county members.
My name is Brian Baskett. I'm the business manager for Iron Workers Local 46 here in Springfield, Illinois. I'm not going to sit here and talk about the unions. We got a plethora of guys back here right now that will talk about the unions, and I'm for this project for one. What I would like to start off with in the past meetings is the ground pollution. The nice lady that was up here earlier talking about cows and so on, livestock and environment. I'm from Springfield, Illinois, just north of town, raised up on 20 acres. We had cattle, we raised chickens, hobby farmers. I'm not a farmer by any means. I'm a city kid that grew up, my dad bought some cows and stuff, but we ate our stock. The 20 acres we bought was on auto salvage, Klein Auto Salvage. Had buried cars in it, had trash, glass. It is what it is. Our cattle was great. Our meat was good. We gave it to our families. We fed our families with it. A couple years down the road, we dug a pond, stocked the pond. The water was good. I went to Ursuline Academy. I graduated in 1994 and became an iron worker in 94 or 95 that summer. Ursuline Academy would come out and test our water at our pond. Our pond was perfect, even on a landfill. Like auto salvage, it was good. We had a well water. Our well water was good, even on an auto salvage lot. So you gotta watch the pollution. You're on farm ground, right? The only pollution that's been on that farm ground is fertilizer that's been sprayed, all right? So that's what's on that ground right now. So I've been, like I said, I've been out here for 31 years, built all over the country here. Everything from pipelines, turbines, everything. One thing you have to understand about us is it's not just us as a union, it's our contractors. We are heavily structured, we're heavily looked after for the EPA rules and what we buy, what we purchase. It's our contractors, not just these men and women's backs or the blood they give every day to work. It's on the contractors as well. I've also heard comments about, why don't you put this in your backyard? Well, unfortunately, I can't. I'm kind of landlocked. I live an eighth of a mile away of the Sangamon County wastewater treatment plant, which I actually helped build for 2 years. Great facility. I lived out there before they redid it, and due to EPA recommendations, they had to upgrade the system. And lots of concrete, lots of steel that I put in, lots of fiberglass that I put in. And also, again, they break that waste down. You have solid particulates, then you have the sludge. So people say, well, how can you live next to a wastewater treatment plant? Because there's engineering controls. I installed around the sludge tanks, vacuum systems, filtration systems to get the odor out. That's kind of what the data centers are doing too. They have engineering controls to help this out for spillages. It's water, it's not going to be, it's all closed loop. So the filtration system's there. You have all kinds of stuff you have to deal with it's going to be there a while. It's a beautiful facility. They went from having 35 employees to 120 full-time employees there for the Sangamon County wastewater treatment plant. Don't hold me to the numbers. It could be more, it could be less. But they have a beautiful facility there. If you guys ever get a chance to go through it, they take tours. It's beautiful. Noise. I live right next to the Springfield Police Department's shooting range. It's probably another, 38 of a mile, right next to the wastewater treatment plant.
Be ashamed of yourself! You're taking away my future!
So, also, just want to let you guys know, the Sangamon County Police Department's there. Everybody National Guard, order. Plus, I hope when my kids are 12 and 15, they have a place to go when they get old enough to go to work. So, thank you. So, environment and animals. I just want to touch on this real quick. You guys can drive down 8th Street Road anytime you want. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there's probably 10 to 30 white-tailed deer. They're not interrupted. You can get wild turkey, and there's 2 bald eagles right there you can look at too. So there you go for the environment.
Thank you, Mr. Becker. The next person who signed up to speak in order is April Hampelman.
I just want to clarify that April Hampelman is my sister and she cannot be here tonight because her children are sick, so am I allowed to say what she said?
I'm sorry. No,
All right.
no.
Well, thank you very much for your time and your service to the community. Please vote
Thank
no.
you for properly identifying yourself. Thank you very much. Okay, the next person. The next person who signed up to speak is Josh Summers. Josh Summers. The next person who signed up to speak, and in order, is Brad Shivey.
Boo me, please.
So, I just want to talk about logistics. People talked about how the members, the men and women of labor, left one of the large meetings here. We had 450 individuals here. We could have done what some areas they're doing, they did a filibuster. They signed up every single one of these men and women. You would have been here for days and days. We didn't do that. You know why? Only 2 people from labor.
Hey, order.
I love it, it's making my argument. 2 people from labor spoke. Aaron Guernsey and myself on behalf of all of these men and women of labor. 2. We didn't sign up all 450 to take up your time. No one sat here and yelled. No one clapped as people were dragged out. They sit there because that's called professionalism. There's professional tonight as they're on the jobs.
Thank you for talking down to everybody.
Order. The security, these outbursts are not allowed, folks. Security will remove you from the room if these outbursts. Continue, Mr. Shivey.
All right, thank you. At the last meeting, as we were walking down the steps to come speak, one of our own members from Labor's Local 47, who lives by this and was here and one of the main opponents of this, was walking down with me, and he said, "Hey, I know why you're here." And I said, "Yeah, I was told that you live by it." And he was with his wife, and he said, "It's a big deal to me." And I said, "I understand." He goes, "And I know it's a big deal to you." That's called professional discourse. Professional. Imagine what that would look like. To have an actual conversation about what's good for the community, what's good for everyone on both sides, and not have people dragged out by the police and the Sangamon County Board people. And be clapped and rewarded for it. Is that where we're at now?
Yes. It is.
That's my point. So, here's the situation. If we work to support those actions, what do we create for the future? If you sit here tonight, and this continues, and all these men and women who sit here quiet from labor, the last meeting we had individuals told, "We hope you get asbestosis, we hope you die on the job, you're all from Chicago." None of these people are from Chicago. They've said all of these things, it's all about money. When they spoke about labor's disaster response team, which has been deployed 13 times, 9 in Sangamon County, it was a big joke and it's a laugh. Here's what I would say. If you're on the fence tonight, take a look at the actions and the lack of professionalism. Is that one? Hey, I love it. I love it when people make my argument.
Because you're white supremacists.
So what we would do,
remove this person that's
Bye.
what we would do is ask you to watch all of this. Is this what you want to see at all the county board meetings? Or do you want to see the professionalism of people come here to talk about jobs? So, I've heard that if you're a yes vote for this tonight, you were paid off. I've seen on Facebook that if you're a yes vote, you were purchased. It's amazing that if you're a no vote, you have some type of moral high ground. But if you're a yes vote for this, you've been paid off. The hypocrisy is so thick you could cut it with a butter. The fact is this: please stand up for decorum and professionalism. Stand up for order and say no to chaos, because you will create chaos for the following. So thank you very much, and I love when they make my argument. Thank you.
Okay, the next person who signed up to speak in order is Joseph Powell.
Because I was told to shut the
Good
fuck
evening,
up.
everyone.
Settle down, folks.
Gladly. Bye.
Just hold on, we won't use your time.
Yeah, don't use your time. Oh, and fun, great. I just like everyone to know he told me to shut the fuck up after he was done talking.
Order. All right, proceed, Mr. Powell.
Good evening. My name is Joseph Powell. I'm a proud member of Local 965 and a proud father of 2 beautiful children. I understand that some have concerns about this data center, but after thinking it through, I have even stronger reasons why I believe this project should be approved. Today, data is like gold. There's a reason for that. The question that we should be asking is simple. Where do we want that data stored? Do we want it stored in places like China or Russia or other foreign countries where it can be used against us? Or do we want it stored here, right here in the United States, where we have the ability to fight for its protection? Our kids are growing up in a world where data and artificial intelligence are going to shape the future. I want my children, and everyone's children, to have opportunities in that future. Furthermore, we have been living through a continuous tech boom for decades. We all rely on it every single day. We use search engines, store family photos in the cloud, follow GPS, and scroll through social media. But here in our area, we are severely lacking advanced technology investment. We benefit from technology, but we don't attract it. Data centers with AI capabilities help power things like cancer research, medical advancements that reduce human error in surgery, and innovations that keep our country leading the world. This isn't just a building, this is infrastructure for the future. And this doesn't just benefit Sangamon County, it strengthens the entire surrounding region that depends on this county as an economic backbone. If we keep turning away opportunities, eventually the opportunities stop knocking. Finally, this is a major opportunity for our local union workforce. Our jobs always have a start date and an end date. We know how to save and plan for the slow times, and right now, we are in a slow time. When was the last major project built in Central Illinois? Not a remodel, not a rehab, a real large-scale build besides the Shield Sports Park in the past couple years. This could be the start of something bigger for our area. We want to work here. We want to stay here with our families. We don't want to have to travel for work. That's when we travel for work, that's money not being spent in our local communities. I respect everyone here has their own concerns. These are mine. I believe this project moves Sangamon County forward, supports American data security, brings tech investments to our region, and keeps local people working close to home. Thank you for your time and listening. God bless the United States of America.
Folks, this heckling, we're really not going to allow it. If the next person who signed up to speak is Salem King. Salem King.
I love you, Sam. I thought you were good.
Are you Mr. King?
Yes.
Okay.
I know most of you are probably tired of hearing about this data center. I know that I am. If you're tired of hearing about this data center and want this process to be over, then vote no. Because I know that if you vote yes, or it gets tabled again, I'll be here in May, and I'll be here in June, and I'll be here in July, and I'll be here in August, and I'll be here in September, and I'll be here in October, and I'll be here in November, and I'll be here in December. This fight ends like any and all fights between the people and the government that claims to represent them will end. When the people win, not a moment sooner. The people of Sangamon County do not want this data center. Every single time public comment happens, and the unions aren't given advance notice of it, particularly their leadership, the public comment is overwhelmingly opposed to this data center. the public will remain opposed to this data center regardless of the vote taken tonight. I understand Cyrus One has come with a lot of promises for what they're going to bring to our community. I think I mentioned before to this county board that I grew up in Decatur. Staley, ADM, and Firestone made a lot of promises to our community in the 90s. Workers struck against them. And then weak union leadership decided to give in to the corporation's demands because the corporations made big promises. Decatur's unemployment rate reached nearly 30% after union gave in to corporate demands. Because the corporations realized they could get away with whatever they wanted so long as they made strong enough demands, promised the government good enough, promised the government, enough in kickbacks and property taxes, made enough promises and jobs, were never actually willing to commit to hiring local, as Cyrus One has not. And now Macon County, the place I grew up in, is, according to the 2020 census, losing its population at the third highest rate in the entire country. There are only 2 counties in the entire United States losing their population faster than the place where union leadership listened to the corporations and believed them. And I grew up watching it happen. I grew up watching our downtown die in Decatur, and now I'm living through the same thing after moving to Springfield just 5 years ago. I have never seen union leadership in anything approaching the force they're here tonight at the city council meetings demanding that we fix the hundreds, if not thousands, of blighted homes in this city and in this county.
Folks, every time these applauses, they just take time away from the speaker. Proceed.
There is plenty of work to be done in this community that is going to help our community, but union leadership only comes out in force when a BlackRock-owned company is backing it. Please vote no on this data center, because we do not need it in our community. It will not solve any of our problems. Cyrus One is lying, and if you vote yes, we're all just going to be back here in May, and in June, July, August, for a really, really long time. And I know we're all tired of this, so please vote no for our community and for yourselves. Thank you.
The next person who signed up to speak in order is Darren Lindy. Darren Lindy. Not here this evening? Okay. The next person who signed up to speak in order is Elijah Heaton.
My name is Elijah Head, and I'm a Sangamon County resident and local 965 operating engineer. What that gentleman doesn't know is that we tear down houses in Sangamon County for free all the time. It sounds like he's ready to write a check, though, to put some people to work for, all the projects he likes to have done. That just happened out of nowhere. Skepticism and questioning are essential. They're how we make good decisions, but they have to be grounded in facts and reality. Right now, we're seeing a lot of comparisons being made that simply don't line up. And if we want real progress, we have to evaluate this project based on what it actually is, not what people are trying to make it sound like. Let's talk about the comparison to Aurora. In that situation, homes were just 200 to 300 feet away with no sound mitigation, just a thin tree line. It's not the case here. At this site, the closest home is over half a mile away, and the multiple sound dampening measures will be in place from day one. That's a completely different scenario. There's also been a lot of confusion about noise. Decibels don't stack in a simple way, they follow a logarithmic scale. Even if all 400 generators running at the same time, at a half a mile, that drops to the comparison of a quiet neighborhood, okay? If they're properly attenuated, it's about 30 decibels, that's a whisper. That's not speculation, that's how sound works. On emissions, these generators meet Tier 4 standards, highest level of regulation. They cut emissions by 90%. Meanwhile, in the same areas, Craig, we've got pre-emissions, pre-def diesel, farm equipment, trucks running for hours and hours every day with far less controls. That's on top of all the particulates and agricultural chemicals they cause to become airborne and end up making their way to the water table. We have to be honest about that comparison if we're going to talk about any kind of an environmental impact. You guys are talking about water. I'm really happy that a lot of people highlighted the difference between a closed loop system and an open loop system. This facility is a closed loop system. It's highly efficient. Everybody's complaining about water usage. It's already been said, but nobody likes to talk about it's daily bathroom faucet usage, okay? The reality is that Waverly Lake will benefit from dredging and proper maintenance that it's not getting. There's going to be a higher availability of water if that's done. At the end of the day, it comes down to whether we're going to make decisions based on facts or fear. Sangamon County needs growth. It needs opportunity. Projects like this bring real jobs and real benefits to working families. We are a large part of this community. We are organized labor. We are united, and we are many. We support those who support us. I ask that you stand with us, look at the facts, and not be swayed by misinformation or misleading comparisons. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person who signed up to speak is Dennis Sheedy. Dennis Sheedy. I think I see him in the back. Yeah, okay.
I'd like to thank everybody for inviting me to speak. I'm going to keep mine really short because there's nothing that I can really add to the conversation that hasn't already been said. I too am an iron worker, 31 years. I'm the president of Local 46, and of course I stand for this data center. Let's build it.
The next person who signed up to speak is Sarah Fairchild. Sarah Fairchild? Not here this evening. Okay. The next person who signed up to speak is Scott Hill.
Thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Scott Hill. I'm training director for IDW Local 193. Been a union electrician for 31 years and I've lived in Sangamon County my entire life. I overheard someone tonight saying that us union folks were being paid to be here. That's 100% false. We're here because we want to be here and we want to support this project. We're also here because I have several apprentices that aren't even working in this logo right now because we want them to work to support it. I would like to bring them home and work in this area where they can be home with their families at night. So tonight I'd like to speak in favor of the Sour Spring Data Center, an investment that will bring real opportunity to our community. So this board has devoted significant time to presentations and public feedback Most board members have likely already reached a decision. Many constituents, myself included, support approval of this project. I hope this is the last feedback session before a final decision is made. Thank you for your time.
We have time for one more. The last speaker will be Maribel Hine. Maribel Hine. Is Maribel Hine there? She's here.
Well, this is my first time speaking. It's Maribel Cruzine. I came here, honestly, because I got a text message saying to vote for the data center, or somebody sent me a message to come here to be pro data center, but I'm a parent and I'm constantly worried about my child's future. I try to understand that change is constant. And like a lot of people say, there's a lot of data, there's a lot of misinformation, but if there's a lot of misinformation, wouldn't you give more time to do the research? Wouldn't we take our time for such a big decision for our future, for our children? I keep asking myself, who is gonna benefit and who's gonna pay the price? And the people that are gonna pay the price is our future, is our children. You know, I would say protect the water, protect the land, protect our power. And that's people power. The power of the people are telling you at least to postpone this decision to do more research on how it's going to affect our communities, our children. What are the consequences? If the consequences are going to be huge, are going to impact us, then why are we taking more time for research? My friend just said that about 1,200 people have signed against this data center. You know, 1,200 people. That's a lot of people, you know? I don't even know about data centers, but I want to know more. I know there's other data centers that are built in Wisconsin that the residents are complaining about the noise. They were pro data center to begin with, but then when it was built in their communities, what else can they do? They can't do any more. They can't do anything else because it's already built.
The traffic noises.
I'm asking you to listen to the community. I'm asking you to listen to your constituents. The union, the corporations are not your constituents. It's a community that came here. That guy said, oh, you know, people show up wearing different colors for different causes. Yes, because those are the people that are going to be affected. Those are the people that are showing up to speak. I did not want to be here. I want to be putting my child to sleep, but I'm here because I'm thinking about his future. And like I said, you know, you're here to represent the people, not corporations. So please, listen to the people. Free Palestine.
The public comment portion of this evening's meeting. We're proceeding now in the regular order, which is the motion before us on the data center. I'm sorry, Mr. Guyton.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that I am petitioning that we extend public comment a half hour on two grounds. Number one, not everyone got the chance to speak, and we were dealing with a series of interruptions. And number two, because there was an inequity about how people were responded to as far as gathering goes. I believe that it is both imperative that we try to rectify the impartiality of this and then extend public comment. But I also would ask that if we do extend public comment, that we allow people to be on deck so we can get things moving more smoothly. That would allow for less interruptions. I feel as though the audience would not only welcome that, but they would try their best to contain themselves, right? Right? I think
Mr.
that...
Guy, address the board, not the audience.
Oh, okay, well, I'm asking, as a representative of District 21, if we could please extend public comment a half hour.
Your motion is to extend public comment 1/2 hour.
Correct.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ayers. On the motion to extend public comment for 1/2 hour, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
Clerk, call the roll.
Ayers?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Constant?
Yes.
Davsco?
No.
Diener? Delgerno?
No.
Deppie?
Yes.
Douglas Williams?
Yes.
Forsythe?
No.
Frazee?
No.
Fulgenzi?
Yes.
Guyton?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Krell?
No.
Lathan?
Yes.
Madonia?
No.
McGuire?
No.
Mendenhall?
Yeah.
Miller? Rader?
No.
Scape?
Yes.
Shackman? Shepherd?
Yes.
Small?
Yes.
Stump? Thomas?
No.
Chumlin?
Yes.
Truax?
No.
Have all voted who wish. Have all voted who wish. On the motion to extend time, the vote is 14 yes, 14 no. That leaves the chairman to break the tie, and the chairman votes no. We will proceed in the regular order. The matter of the zoning is properly before the board. Questions or comments from members of the board. We have, I think, prearranged with proponents and opponents to take seats here at the front to answer any questions if board members have questions of them. And we'll let you take your seats and proceed to questions or comments from members of the board. Mr. Del Giorno.
This project represents more than 500 construction jobs over several years. And no, I have not, according to someone on Facebook, taken any money from the unions this year, nor have I received a union contribution for 5 years. Thank you very much. In reality, that work will provide stability for Sangamon County workers for the next several years while we're against the backdrop of an economic climate of tariffs and war. I've also heard references made again tonight to the Pillsbury plant as being a cautionary tale. I can speak to that. I'm the Secretary-Treasurer of Moving Pillsbury Forward, which is the nonprofit that has put together the stack of money to remediate and put that property back into production for the city of Springfield. That factory, at its height, provided stable employment for decades, including through the Great Depression and including through World War II. And by 1940, a little bit of trivia that you'll be able to see at the Abraham Lincoln Library and a little exhibit there, is that by 1940, the Pillsbury plant was using more electricity than the entire city of Springfield combined. Today, we face a similar choice. We can insist on responsible development and strong standards, or we can default to inaction and limit our future. I would like to see us build something more than a strip mall or recruiting the latest chain restaurant and calling it a success for economic development. From the beginning, my position has been simple. Let's get this right. That means evaluating this project based on evidence and ensuring our regulations are appropriate and enforceable. Zoning and building codes are two separate things. Cyrus One has not applied for their building permit. That gives the county an opportunity right now to review and strengthen our building codes to address legitimate concerns about health, safety, and welfare of the community. A proposal for zoning revisions was submitted by retired attorney Don Hammerhand as part of the opposition back in January. That led me to ask the chairman to convene a working group to take a look at his proposal and to see how we could address those issues that were raised. Much of what Mr. Hammerhand requested is already covered by state law or existing county codes. Where we are empowered to make improvements, we should, and that work is already underway through the Zoning and Building Committee, as brought up by Mr. McGuire and Mr. Rader at our last meeting. Sangamon County can do better, and I urge this board to evaluate this project fairly, improve our regulations where appropriate, allow responsible development, and move forward. At this time, I would actually ask that the Regional Planning Office, Shannon, if you could present your office's findings with regard to the Hammerhand proposal.
Shannon Carrick, Acting Executive Director with Regional Planning. This was a memorandum that was prepared by Trustin Harrison with the Zoning Department. I will read what the public comment and suggestion was, followed by the staff analysis. Data center definition, already covered in Chapter 17.04, Data Center Definition. Decibel definition, already covered, Illinois Pollution Control Board regulates noise levels. Octave band definition, already covered, Illinois Pollution Control Board regulates noise levels. The American National Standards Initiative definition, already covered. Illinois Energy Conservation Code references compliance with ANSI/ASHRAE 90.1 energy standards. Applicability only applies to data centers over 20 megawatts. This is already covered. The current ordinance applies to all data centers. Permit application, already covered under Chapter 17.02.010. Energy provider, service provider, and MISA documentations, already covered. Chapter 17.38.040D requires a letter from the serving utility, which is the Rural Electric Convenience Cooperative. Any energy produced on-site must be for a separate use. The current ordinance allows as an accessory use. Mandate renewable energy usage. This cannot be regulated through a zoning ordinance. Contract between the developer and energy provider for new infrastructure. This cannot be regulated through a zoning ordinance. Water will serve letter, already covered. Chapter 17.38.040D requires a letter from the serving utility, which is Apple Creek. Non-public water or well usage study. This does not apply to this project. Retention pond management, already covered. Chapter 17.39.040C, required as part of the site plan, sign off by the county engineer required. Closed loop cooling discharge notice. This cannot be regulated through a zoning ordinance. Sound and vibration, already covered through the Illinois Pollution Control Board, which regulates noise levels. Backup generators cannot sell energy back to the grid. This cannot be regulated through a zoning ordinance. 2 generators maximum testing at a time. It's already covered in the Illinois Pollution Control Board, which regulates noise levels. Tier 4 generators required, already covered. Illinois Climate and Reliability Act requires Tier 4 generator standards. Full cutoff light fixtures, already covered. Chapter 17.39.020, lighting shall be shielded and downcast. Light color and motion activated lighting. Some of these restrictions may interfere with other industry standards such as the Illinois Energy Conservation Code or LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design Certification. 500-foot setback from structure to property line, already covered. Chapter 17.39.020, setback is 150 feet from the structure to the property line, plus a minimum of 750 feet to a residential structure. 500 feet has the potential to take additional farmland. Transparency that all non-disclosure agreements be released. Staff cannot enter into non-disclosure agreements. 60-day notice. Conflicts with 55 Illinois compiled statute, Chapter 5, County Code, no more than 30 days. Must report monthly energy usage. This cannot be regulated through a zoning ordinance. Landscaping buffer, already covered. Chapter 17.39.020 currently requires a landscaping screen within 500 feet of a residential structure. This adds to the potential of more farm ground being used. Screening required within 300 feet, already covered. Chapter 17.39.020, landscaping screen required within 500 feet of an existing dwelling. Fencing, already covered. Chapter 17.39.020, fencing is required. Energy management plan, already covered. Chapter 17.39.050, proof of an emergency plan submitted to the local responding district. National Fire Protection Association 855 requirements, already covered. Currently adopted 2023 National Fire Protection Association 855 battery storage. Penalties $25,000 to $100,000. This conflicts with 55 ILCS 5 Counties Code, maximum 1,000 per day.
Mr. Deljon, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, what this memo and chart signifies is that with all of the concerns that have been raised by Mr. Hanrahan's proposal, about 80% of those are already covered by either our ordinance or state law. Those issues that we do have the ability to potentially address, we have put those proposals forward with the Building and Zoning Committee through Mr. McGuire and Mr. Rader, and that process is ongoing because that building permit has not obviously been applied for yet by Cyrus One. So I would ask that this board not kill this development and that we move this forward and approve the zoning. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder of the rules to all board members. Each board member can speak twice on an issue and for a total of 5 minutes. Mary is keeping the time. Any other board members who have questions or comments from members of the board? Mr. Cameron.
I have a question. I was asked by a constituent about the water, whether the closed loop system, whether this water is going to be replaced at some point, and if so, where would the old water go?
Mr. Cameron, who are you addressing your question to?
To both the proponents and the opponents.
Who do you want to answer first?
The proponents.
Is this on? Okay. So we talked about this at the ZBA meeting and at the public forum as well. The closed loop system is set up so that if there's an issue where a portion of the system needs to be fixed, we can valve off the portions of the building that are unaffected to make the repairs. So the likelihood of a full-scale draining of the system is highly, highly unlikely. If we did need to drain the system, we would bring a Baker tank on site, or a couple of them, to accept the water, to hold the water, and then send it back into the system. These facilities are set up to run 24/7, 365. So the situation where we had to actually drain and de-energize an entire cooling system in a facility would be a catastrophic issue with our system. And it's not something that we've seen in our portfolio.
That would mean you'd have to shut down the whole system, is that correct?
That's right. And the buildings are designed to ensure that that doesn't need to happen.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Cannon, you have the floor.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm the proponent, the opponents, do you have any comment on that?
Hello, Mr. Cannon. My name is Tom Davis. Any containerized and reuse of a closed loop water, which obviously has some additives in it, that's a good idea. Any flushing of the system and a discharge would be a terrible idea. So I would suggest that one way of approaching this is that if indeed any of the closed loop fluids are disposed of, that they be done properly. If a permit is required, then so be it. But that's an option that it seems that, or that's not an option, but that's something that it seems unlikely, but there are safeguards, and I want to stress that you cannot discharge into a ditch or even into the septic field. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman,
You have the floor.
this is a tough vote. I've listened carefully to the strong advocacy by both those urging a yes vote and those urging a no vote. And I have been and always have been a strong supporter of the environment, both here and at the City Council. And I'm an advocate for working women and men of our county and organized labor, and always have been. We are in a tough economic environment in our county today, especially in construction. There is right now a dearth of construction jobs in our county, and I want to do everything I can to help our brothers and sisters in labor while at the same time protecting the environment. The proposed data center is not in the middle of an urban area like those like the one that goes in Aurora that were highlighted in the State Journal Register and the Illinois Times. It's planned to be built far from the population center, and I was actually at the site today, and the closest home where people actually live is almost a mile from the proposed data center. And as far as water usage was explained tonight, I don't think the water usage is a problem because this is a closed loop system. Cyrus One has learned from its data centers and is taking further steps to ameliorate the noise problem. And I don't see how, like, for example, I got calls from people in Auburn saying they're afraid of the noise. From viewing the site today and the amount of miles it is to Auburn, I can't see how the noise would go that far. That's 4 or 5 miles. The zoning board found that Cyrus One met all the criteria for the land, for the conditional permitted use. And the greatest concern I have is the large amount of electricity being consumed. I didn't know that the Pillsbury also used about the same amount of electricity. As Mr. Del Giorno just pointed out, the effect, but I am concerned about the electricity consumed and the effect that may have on rates. But that is not the issue in a zoning case, and if we reject the zoning relief request of Cyrus One is going to go to another downstate county, build a data center, and since we're all on the same grid, we will then still incur the increased electric costs, but reap none of the benefits generated by all the construction jobs that will be created. I'm also very glad to see that further reforms based on Attorney Hanrahan's suggestions are on the way to tighten up our building code and other county regulations for this data center and for all future data centers that might seek to be built. In addition, if the zoning passes, this is not the end of the road. As Mr. Del Giorno pointed out, the Cyrus One would still need building permits and other permits to build this project. And for those reasons, and to support our sisters and brothers in organized labor, I plan to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions or comments? Mr. Stump.
Yes, Chairman, I have a question for Cyrus One, for the data center.
and then I have a statement.
Proceed, you have the floor.
Yep, so questions have been raised this is a Cyrus one. Questions have been raised about the number of permanent jobs at the facility and how those positions will be filled. How will that work in practice, and how can local residents take advantage of those opportunities? And how many permanent jobs will the facility ultimately support? Can you highlight that?
Sure. So we've stated there's a minimum of 100 permanent jobs created by this facility. So there's 4 buildings, so you figure about 25 people working, a minimum of 25 people working in each building over the course of 3 shifts, 24/7, 365. The people working in our facilities typically have mechanical, electrical, plumbing backgrounds. Others have operations and management backgrounds. Those are the kind of people moving into these positions. A lot of them come from the trades and from construction backgrounds. We will hold, and we've done this in other new markets we've entered, we'll hold a career fair towards the end of this year if we're able to kickstart our construction so that we can start to source the permanent workforce. And that's in addition to what we're doing with the unions on the pre-apprentice program that was talked about to bring new people into the construction force as well. We will have a career fair, we'll have a job fair that'll be hosted locally, and we'll be able to share the opportunities and invite people to come and apply and work in our facility.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Chairman, I have a statement that I'd like to make to all the county board members and to the public here tonight. You know, at the very beginning, when we had these hearings here, the county board they voted for me to run the meeting. And they do that for a reason, because the way I'm set up as a person, I respect opponents, proponents. I don't care who you are, what you are, why you are. Everybody has a right to say what they want, when they want. And there's been so many hundreds of hours of visitation on all this from the opponents and the proponents on this. I have never said in this room or to any of my board members even that whether I was for or against this project, I always wanted to just hear. I wanted to hear what the opponents had to say and what the proponents had to say. Just a few days ago, I sent a note separately to each county board member with a statement. And I also responded to as many emails and texts that I could. We've had a bunch, and it's great that we have both sides venting, and it's democracy is an ugly thing sometimes, and it's a great thing. It's the best thing in the world, but sometimes it's hard to get there. I just wanted to make a statement for the record of what I said and why I am for this project. So, dear constituent, with so many emails for and against the proposed data center in the southern Sangamon County, I've created a document for you as to my position on this matter. For a better part of this last year and the beginning of this year, we as a board have heard from all the proponents, opponents, and also the legal and professional staff recommendations on this data center. We had open meetings to hear about all facets of this project from everyone. We have heard at all of our zoning meetings, finance meetings, and special public hearings on this. We are to zone or not to zone this data center based on the information at hand. Springfield, Sangamon County professionals state that this is a very suitable place for this project. Legal opinions concur with this. This is for zoning only. If passed, the data center would need to meet all the rules and laws, regulations of the United States government, the state of Illinois government, including the Pollution Control Board, along with Sangamon County public health regulations, Sangamon County building codes and regulations. This project will not get off the ground if they are not in compliance with all of these entities. Zoning alone does not guarantee that this project will move forward. I believe that this project will be safe, and it's a generational project. It's a generational project that will produce many jobs, along with the much needed revenue for the surrounding taxing bodies, including schools, townships, and Sangamon County. The people that build this, along with the monies going to schools, townships, and such, will add an incredible amount that will transfer to communities in ways such as restaurants, gas stations, small and large businesses. This is projected to be $100 million over 20 years or so. In light of this, I'm in favor of the project, and thank you for all your input, whether it's for or against. Thank you.
Thank you. Mendenhall.
I have a question for Kathleen Campbell.
Mr. Mendenhall, would you move the microphone closer again?
I have a question for Kathleen Campbell. I've asked her to do a little research for me, and I have a question for her. Kathleen, my question is, will the air and noise pollution from the data center have a negative effect on bees and livestock, and could it limit the development for the land in the future for someone who wanted to have a livestock facility?
Let's get Ms. Campbell's microphone on. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been going through the literature and the research, and yes, it indicates that will restrict the land use around it, or potentially could. For example, my husband and I are gardeners, organic gardeners, and that requires honeybees. Noise and air pollution can really shut down honeybee populations, and they've been shown that's been specifically shown for AI projects, data centers. As a couple of different reasons. One is the noise. It interferes with the bees' communication. So also if you want to put it in a honey facility, an apiary, something that probably won't work. Oh, it's also going to inhibit, no, we live 10 miles away, but we grow blueberries, we grow peaches, we've grown apples. Without bees, none of that's going to happen. Increased levels of noise and pollution can actually cause reduced colony production, brood development, foraging, navigation. Bees, as we all know, communicate. We all like watching our nature programs. But further data centers cause heat islands. They put out a lot of heat. So even though you have your closed loop system, there are heat islands around, and that can also inhibit colony production. I also did a review of livestock, and I alluded to that before. I've talked about the health impacts, including mental health impacts, but also on humans, respiratory system, neurologic system of pollutants, particularly noise and chronic noise. And by the way, the 110 dB will still be perfectly audible at 3,000 feet. I just ran the calculations. So even though you have some noise and pollution controls, it could adversely affect the people, but also the animals. So if you look, I won't bother to go through, I have the whole list in the literature, but the species also tend to have frequencies, hear frequencies much higher than we do. For example, dogs, we all know they can hear things before we do. And the regulations that are written only for humans. So a dog kennel could be particularly problematic for something like a dog kennel, depending on the frequency output. And Cyrus 1, understandably, only addresses the human concerns that are in the state law, but for animals, that's a specific problem. Also, it impacts, because some of that communication is fairly soft, between a mother and their offspring for multiple species. And so it can cut down on the health of the offspring, and it can also reduce the fertility in both male and female livestock animals across multiple species, actually. So it can also result in changes in the nervous system, muscle tension, vocalization, breathing changes, drooling. So I feel sorry for the farmers that are going to be next to this, because they might not be employed by the data center. They may very well hear the noise of the data center, at least up to 3,000 feet, and I realize there's not a lot of them there. But corn and soybeans aren't doing well right now in the international markets. We all know this. And so what are their options? If they want to put in a house for the child, because these are multi-generational farms, they don't want to put that next to the data center with the noise and air pollution. But if they want to turn that into gardening space and need pollinators, that may not happen. If they try to put in livestock operations, they could have reduced production. And by the way, it reduces milk production, reduces egg production, and it reduces weight gain, because it can reduce feeding. Now some people will point out, oh, there's music studies that cows like music. Well, the noise put out from a data center is not Beethoven. And the animals can tell the difference, and just as you and I can.
and that constant stress is really detrimental. So I'm very concerned that the people around there may not be able to repurpose their land. It may not be worth as much. They might not have as many options. And as we start trying to turn away a little bit from corn and soybeans, because what's happening internationally, they just might not have very many options going forward. So I actually feel quite sorry for them.
You have the floor, Mr.
Thank you. I have one other comment I'd like to make real quick. We've talked about several comments here shortly about the Pillsbury site. It would just be a tremendous plus for the city of Springfield and local labor. Why don't we build it there? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mendenhall. Just a note for all board members, Mary does not count the answer in your time, so she keeps track of your time that way. Other board members wish to comment? Mr. Medonian. Mr. Medonian.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. There it is. Okay. This is for Cyrus One. We hear a lot about your Aurora facility. What have you learned and what steps have you taken to address those issues? And how will this project be different from and operated differently to avoid any problems? Thank you.
So at our Aurora facility, there's a number of mitigation measures taking place right now that will be completed later this year. And all of those mitigation measures that are going into place on that facility are already in the design on this facility. They're also in the design on another facility we have in Aurora across the highway. And those are all just based on, obviously, raised awareness, the evolution of understanding of noise and how they interact with these, the equipment. And so that is in place. And then secondly, it was pointed out earlier, just the environment around Aurora compared to the site is drastically different. It's a more urban area, 175 to 200 residents within a half mile of that campus. Here, there's zero occupied residences within a half mile. So naturally, we're already set up better from a site selection standpoint, but also those additional measures taken to abate the noise will make this a extremely high-performing facility with respect to noise.
Thank you. I got one more. Sean, can you explain the MISO and how this is not going to affect that? And it's a separate own power source, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just do that like layman's terms so us that are not very smart and that kind of stuff can kind of figure it out?
No, absolutely. It's a multi-step process just to look at the interconnection and determine the feasibility. It goes to the local transmission provider first, since Ameren owns the wires. They did a full study within their footprint to know that it could serve that particular load, that magnitude at that spot on the earth with the lines encumbered. And then when they complete, if it's successful, and I should note, they don't pass it on until they completely sign off on it. Then they submit to the MISO, the regional authority, which is 12 states and parts of Canada, and they study it from a regional perspective. And so they look at how the individual TO, they're called, there's a transmission owner, they look at how their impact is weighed, but then they look at how it affects their impact with others around them. And so MISO does a very deep dive, and they have their own full engineering staff to do that. But on this process, and they did it in 2 phases, so they approved the first phase, and then the second phase came back, and they as well studied that and certified that it met no harm, no voltage gradient degradation, no negative impacts to the grid.
And as a rural electric customer myself, you have also stated that it will not raise my rates, correct?
Correct. And the main reason for that is, and you did mention physically, there's some physical separation in the way we serve what our native load is from direct Ameren delivery points at a much lower voltage compared to this main transmission artery that went through, and frankly, is one of the reasons why. The question came up, why'd you pick this spot? Because they were right by that great big transmission line with that massive capacity to it. It's separate from the cooperative's serving points, and as such, we're able to put a rate structure in place that allows Cyrus to go right to the market through our wholesaler and procure energy, but it's independent of how we do it for our existing members.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Medonian. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller here. The far. Yeah.
This is for Cyrus. One question, please. You've emphasized
building long-term relationship and partnerships with the community.
Mr. Miller, could you bring the microphone closer? Yeah,
What specific commitments, especially for things like fire district support and infrastructure improvements, are already formalized in writing?
Yeah, happy to answer that. So throughout this entire process, I think we've always said we were open to community feedback, and we've been trying to put together a solution for our own project with respect to infrastructure, power, jobs, people to serve this. And along that way, we're meeting different agencies and different folks that are going to serve this and finding ways to help solve, some of the problem we have, but also their problems. And I've been inspired in the conversations I've had with the local volunteer fire districts and the work that they do on a daily basis, volunteer, going out to help people in the middle of the night. It's a very easy thing for us to get aligned with, and obviously Vernon, we're served by Vernon. They're one of the taxing districts that's going to be serving our site, and finding out, okay, they don't have a ladder truck. So if they come out to the site, they don't have a means of actually getting the ladder on top of the facility, that's a problem. It's a problem for us, and it's a problem for them. And so, and through that discussion, we committed to buy a ladder truck for them. And that's the commitment is made in writing. And then through those conversations, understanding about mutual aid, about how they don't have enough resources to, or they may not have enough people in the middle of the night go out and serve a fire or an issue. So they draw on the other broader communities. So it's Auburn, Chatham, Waverly. And those fire districts have, some equipment needs and training needs as well. And so through that, we've also provided commitments to Auburn and Chatham in writing to make sure that they are aligned with the mission that Vernon needs to provide to us, but also to the broader community. We've already talked, about the commitments on the water infrastructure side with the co-op in Waverly Lake, but also beyond that, the commitment to the pre-apprentice program. That's communicated in writing. That's a 5-year commitment to align with the construction of the project, where there's a pre-apprentice program currently in place that's funded by the state. It's got enough funding right now to bring 25 pre-apprentices into the project. We're committing additional funding. It costs money to bring people into this program. Committing funding to bring 10 more people each year over the next 5 years. So it's another 50 people through the pre-apprentice program into the trades. And that's alignment. Again, we need workers. We need people to work at our facility, but there's also a need for people to make their way into these careers and into these jobs. And then finally, with early childhood education, an opportunity to introduce kids into STEM programming. And there's programs that are already in existence today that are doing a great job of this, but could really increase their enrollment if they just had a partner, a corporate partner, someone to participate in what their mission is. And obviously we are closely aligned with technology, engineering, math. Those are things that we want to support, and we've committed in writing to do that as well. So that's a long-winded answer, I'm sorry, but those are the kinds of things that we've committed to in writing.
You have the floor, Ms. Miller. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? Mr. Benwell, I just need to check if everyone's spoken once who wishes to. Mr. Hall.
I appreciate the effort that everybody put forward in this room, board members, proponents, opponents, labor, neighbors. I come from experience, been on this board for some say too long, 25 years plus. I hope everyone who comes before us tells us the truth, but my experience tells me no. My experience I had in our township, and I say this, I'll never be remembered as a very good speaker in my community, but I'm a damn good listener. I go and get haircuts. I jokingly say that I buy the information, the haircut's free. I go to lunches. Last night I went to Waverly, had a pretty good hamburger. But anyway, right, and everybody in that restaurant has great concerns about the Apple Creek and the water and the utilities. I've talked to almost everyone in the township that would come to the door asking their opinion one way or the other. My community of that township wants to be proven wrong, but we have such great concerns. on Route 104 at the New Berlin Road, Saturday, about a year and a half ago, we had a motorcycle accident. An employee of the solar farm, and I know it's not you, but an employee of that solar farm, or a contractor, I guess, hit and killed a person on a motorcycle. I've had to stand there on the highway and listen to that family talk about how dad shouldn't have died. I went to the solar farm people the next day, and they told me that that's not our employee, that's a contractor. You need to talk to them. If this passes, you and I are going to have conversations more than you can imagine, because I want to make sure there's ownership in this. And for those of you who have taken great caution on this vote, I thank you. For those of you who drove out and saw this, I thank you. For those of you who didn't, because you could Google Earth it, I'm not happy with that. Again, I guess my question is, you've gone to these entities, schools, fire departments, whatnot. Have you gone to any other schools in the last 2 weeks? Sir, I guess I'm asking you, the proponent.
In the last 2 weeks, I've met with the Auburn and Chatham school districts.
And how did that go?
Well, I was information sharing. Basically, the first time, I think, what I've heard throughout this is various different things. I think one of the comments of the last meeting was, well, all the school revenue is going to recouping. And the people who are going to work at this facility are likely to live in Auburn and Chatham, the communities closest to this thing. And so I wanted to make them aware of that. Yeah, look, there's people that are going to be coming here, and they're likely going to live in this community. And if we can support the families that are going to be locating here and help you, ease the burden of having to increase the enrollment here, we're happy to do that. And honestly, I think, I'm not going to speak for the school district, but I think school districts in general are thrilled about increased enrollment. There's classrooms in some of these buildings that are empty. I think one of the schools has maybe 16 empty classrooms because of the population loss, because there's been people moving away over time. And so I was encouraged by the conversations with the local school districts closest to this facility that are right there in Sangamon County.
So the incentives about bringing more people here to put more students on our schools, I appreciate that. Was there other incentives, either training or monetary or anything like that, I guess is my question.
Yeah, we're contributing to the schools over the course of 5 years to start, to cover our construction period. And honestly, the schools and any nonprofit for that matter, they're constantly competing for grants. When you compete for grants, there's restrictions, there's stipulations, it must be used for this, it must be done for that, it has to go to this. And I don't run a school district, I've never been in education, but to come in and give money to an organization and say, this is how you have to use it, it's not really my place, but what I do say is like, look, here's how you can align with our values and our mission. And if you can do that, great. But look, if you're telling me that there's a teacher retention problem, and this money needs to go to personnel instead of equipment or computers, fine. That's fine with me. Keep the teachers there, pay them an extra bonus, give them a little bit more money, but solve your personnel problem. If you don't have enough money for computers, spend it there. But it's about providing a resource to solve a problem for people who are going to serve your project. They're going to serve us by serving the families that work for us, whether it's the construction force that's there, the permanent force that's there, and we want alignment with our local communities. I want the schools who are around us, the fire districts around us, the Farm Bureau, who we've also talked to. We want the Farm Bureau, if they've got an issue with mud, traffic, someone's complaining, I want them to come to me and talk to me about it. And have us solve the problem before they go to you or to someone else. And it's the kind of relationships through this entire process we've been trying to form and create is alignment. And that was the point of my last 2 meetings with those 2 school districts. And that was in direct response to feedback that we heard at the previous meeting.
I spoke to the school superintendent over in Waverly here this morning, and I asked him if he had a conversation, and he said no. No, are you only speaking to the school districts of Sangamon County, or are you speaking to adjacent? Because just on the other side of this property is the school district of Waverly, who is struggling also. How did you choose of Auburn and Chatham and not the adjacent to this property?
So the city of Waverly, we have a pretty significant community benefit allocated. Obviously, it helps us to have a reliable water source. But in that conversation with the mayor, and I'll be the first one we're not going to be able to solve everybody's issues on a municipal level across an entire region. But hearing, okay, the things that we talked about are there's a water source that over the course of the past 10, 20 years has slowly eroded, become shallower. The former lakefront properties are now landfront properties, and there's a real issue with water dependability for the long term. Our facility is going to be built, turn on and run for the next 30, 40 years. If that lake has an issue in 5 years or 10 years, it's our issue. And so we're coming in and we want to fix it now. And we talk about the lake as a water source, as a utility. But the reality is it's also a big recreational source for that community. There's people that fish there, that camp there, that boat there. And to revitalize, someone told me the dredging would buy that lake another 100 years. That's been my focus with the leadership in Waverly. And I think that, I'm not going to speak for them, that's been good enough for now. And I think if there's other ways to align, or there's other things that people are local, are presenting to me, I'll listen, just like I've listened throughout this entire process. And if there's a way to align, we'll align for sure.
I've heard years ago, and I've used this so many times, I think people are tired of hearing it being said, but you did a good job when everybody walks away equally unhappy. I wonder if we're close. The people who live the closest to this are probably the most vulnerable in this county. These are people that work 2 jobs to make ends meet. These are people who have to drive at an all-time expensive time to drive with the cost of inputs, fuel and vehicles and everything. Right. I just walk so cautiously because of my past experience. And if this passes tonight, I hope you prove my community wrong, that my community have been fibbed to before. On the other side of the county line, there's a wind farm over in Morgan County. And I talked to farmers in the last couple of days, and they said that if I had a choice, I wouldn't put one of these wind farms on my farmland again because it's changed ownerships. The promises aren't there. I guess it's really not a question. It's just prove us wrong, but you're going to have to prove us. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Mr. Guyton.
So, can you hear me?
Mr. Guyton.
Great. Thank you, proponents and opponents, public, laborers, union members. I really appreciate you, as well as the rest of the board. I can speak. I believe we all appreciate the effort that has gone into these conversations. There's a lot of uncertainty amongst my community, amongst the constituents that I represent. They're concerned about a number of things. The rising prices, the uncertainties, the way that many data centers, some under Cyrus One's name, how they've affected the communities and left problems that cannot easily be fixed. And with that, I do have to wonder about how this information is being pitched to us. So my first question is for Rural Electric regarding the studies of the MISO grid. how long were these studies conducted for? Over what period of time? And when was the last time that there was a look or an update on those?
Great question. Ameren's forecast when they were starting studies was 3 months. It took them probably 6. So it took them quite a while to do their independent study. And so then when it's submitted to MISO, I would say probably the first phase was something similar to that, 4 to 6 months. And MISO's been having, this came in earlier last year, is when that, I think March is when we finally got the approval on that, or maybe at some point. The phase 2 then it probably took 4 months for the first one. I think it took 6 or 7 for the second phase. So it just took, it's taken MISO quite a while then to kind of finalize those study pieces.
Okay.
Does that answer that question?
Sort of. I have a couple follow-up questions. So with those studies being about a year, and you said that they started last year? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the length of time was a year then. So in respect to the MISO grid, how long has that grid existed in its current state?
I don't know the inception date of the ISOs, but they were started probably in the late 90s where the grid, as you know it, of course, the co-op's been here since 1936. What they call independent system operators started with a FERC proceeding, which is the federal government, and that would have been in the late 90s. Okay. And so that structure came about after deregulation, if you know anything about the industry. But they wanted to have traffic counts, and so there's many of those. MISO just is the Midwest. There's New York ISO, there's PJM, that's Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland. We hear a lot about them in the news. So there's many of these organization bodies. So they've been doing the traffic cop job for several decades.
Okay. So I'm very glad you said that. So I have a couple of some alarm bells ringing in my head, partially because, as we've come to know, there are hotspots that are a result of these AI centers, the data centers being built, right? We also have come to a point where environmentally we have to acknowledge that the climate is getting very hot. It's not something that is just incremental. We are seeing records almost daily in regards to the temperatures that we are experiencing. Record highs. We're seeing a lot of storm cells develop because of this, and also brownouts and blackouts. Now I know those are largely, you can't control those. Those are systems or things that happen, acts of gods, etc. But I guess for me and for the constituents that have raised questions, they're concerned about how we are going to fit all of this together, make sure that it's reliable, and that it's not going to cause more issues for people who are trying to make ends meet. Utility bills are extra high right now. There's a lot of electronic demand, and I do understand the need for expanding the electrical capacity, but if we continue to expand it, or if we continue to add on to it without continually expanding it, that means that there's going to be less energy that's available for people, right? So keeping in mind that all of these things are in play, and people are now being penny pinched daily. We even hear some of our laborers, they're having trouble making ends meet. How can we assure that this project is going to cause Sangamon County's financial situation to grow, both as a county and individually? How can we assure ourselves that this will bring in more revenue when we're talking about 25 jobs per building over 3 shifts?
Thank you. Board, thank you very much. I'm John Hayden. I'm the president of Cyrus One. Listen, we can't address all of the issues climate-wise. What we can talk about is this project, right? We've had all of the experts under oath tell you that this is not going to raise the rates. The investment that we'll make here, if the zoning is approved today, is billions of dollars of investment. That billions of dollars of investment will bring economic growth. We've been doing this for 25 years. We've done this in other communities. Noted, we did have our issues in Aurora. We're spending tens of millions of dollars to remediate that, and it will be fixed. And I've sat in front of the community in Aurora and told them the same thing, and we talk to them every month. So, there's a lot of things, like you say, hotspots from AI data centers. Where?
What do you mean?
Many of these AI data centers haven't even been constructed yet. So, I just want to be careful about, what we do with the grid operators, how we operate the data center. We're going to stand here, Commissioner Hall, challenge us anytime you want.
I'm the one that's asking the question.
No, I just want you, I want the board to challenge. Order. We want to be transparent with you. I can't speak to climate change. I can speak to the fact that energy production is more or less infinite, right? If there is demand for electricity, generation is built. Solar farms, wind farms, nuclear, gas plants. So it's not a limited resource from a perspective of if Cyrus 1 uses some, there's not going to be any left for anybody else. If all of these AI data centers show up and use the power, more generation will be built to support that. The grid has grown for 100 years. Demands of electricity have grown for 100 years. Generation has always followed that to make sure that the capacity was there.
Okay, thank you for that. So here's the thing. There are reports of data centers and their temperature reading climbing yearly. This is not something that is just hearsay, it's been scientifically studied. So to me, that response, and I understand you're not going to have all the answers. It's impossible.
Let me apologize. When you said hotspots, I thought you were talking about on the grid, not specifically temperature.
Understood. Okay.
So my apologies.
And my apologies for not being clear. I am speaking about the temperatures, which, if we're going to consider Sangamon County and the farmland that's going to be used, we also have to keep in mind that that is cornfield. We've experienced, I'm not even going to address the folks because I'll get gathered for that, but we've experienced hot summers, corn sweat. That raises temperatures in itself. So adding in another
Mr. Guy,
building-
that's time. Can you kind of wrap up your question?
Wow, that was so quick. I did have a question for the. You know what? I use my time.
Any questions or comments from members of the board? Mr. Ayers. Mr. Ayers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, the audience, members of the public, proponents, opponents. Again, this has been quite the debate. This will mainly be for the proponents for Cyrus 1. Earlier tonight, there was an hour allocated to public comment. And did Cyrus 1 ever instruct any of those members that spoke in favor to quote, Cyrus 1 folks have asked us to sign up early for this to try to take the opposition spots in the order. Did Cyrus 1 instruct proponents to sign up early to take the opposition spots so that these folks couldn't speak? That's not true, because I will make sure that this email is, a copy of this is sent to board members and members of the press that I just received tonight. So thank you for saying, no, you did not send that, but clearly someone did send that. What's that?
Is the email from me?
The email is saying, good morning, brothers and sisters.
Who's the email from?
From IBEW Local 193.
It's not Cyrus One.
They were saying they were instructed by you to fill up the opposition slots. That's not true?
Read the email.
You want me to read it to you right now? You want me to read it to you right now?
Go ahead.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Order! I am sending over the link for public comment at the upcoming Sangamon County Board meeting on April 7th at 6 p.m. at the BOS Center. The Cyrus One folks have asked us to sign up early for this to try to take the opposition spots in the order. And it goes on, and it's signed by the member of the union. So is that not true?
I think it's fair for people who want to get supporters to speak to let them know that it helps our cause. Too, obviously there's been a number of work done on both sides of this, on the proponent and opponent side, to have their members speak and to have the numbers come out here, because it's obviously has a lot of attention. So I think it's fair for the proponents to bring their members here to speak and support, and for the opponents to do the same. This is something that we've been doing for the past several public hearings.
Yes, absolutely. So
This outburst is out of order.
So the answer is yes. You did instruct them to sign up early to take the opposition spots.
I've already answered the question.
The answer was yes. Okay, there we go.
Mr. Ayers, you have the time, that the clapping is using your time, so go ahead. You have the time.
Furthermore, we had an opportunity to extend public debate. That was rejected. This is a stain on this body, once again, that we should be allowing public comment. We should be allowing that. Everyone should be speaking tonight if they're opposing this project or they support it. Let them speak. That's why I'm sitting in this seat. But to load up opposed spots so that you can limit debate to get favorable comments in favor of your project, that's pretty disturbing information. So, secondly, I'll move on to my other point. How long has Cyrus One had Sangamon County in your sights for a project? How long have you been looking at Sangamon County for this project?
I don't recall the specific, we were made aware of this opportunity. It wasn't, hey, let's go, it wasn't part of a broader strategy to say, let's go target Sangamon County. We are brought opportunities daily from people who have a very firm understanding of infrastructure, of land, of where power is available. And we have relationships across the entire industry with people who understand the grid, who understand the availability of power. We were brought this opportunity from a group that understands these things. And so it was more or less understanding that there's capacity available here, there's infrastructure available here, which is what I've said from the beginning, was one of the things that drove us here. So we were made aware of that, and obviously learning more about it is when we decided to engage and learn more about the opportunity, and that was maybe a few months before we submitted the application for the rezoning. There's a number of months of due diligence where we had to do field work, some preliminary surveys, civil engineering, and those sort of things. Yeah, I would say it's probably sometime in the middle of 2025.
So before we changed our zoning, you knew you were coming here?
No, I don't.
And what I'm getting at by asking that question is, another member commented tonight that we should have a crystal ball, that we changed the zoning back in July of 25, and then 3 months later, knock, knock, it's you at our doorstep. Now, had I have known, again, I don't have a crystal ball, but you knew you were coming here before July of 25. Is that correct?
Mark, we don't know, I cannot speak to your own zoning determination process. It was a unanimously approved data center ordinance. Because there was not enough awareness or engagement, I'm sorry, and we've run through the regulations and the additional regulations that we're complying with. So I'm not going to comment on what process you went through when that data center ordinance was originally considered and adopted and eventually approved.
So that again is that's my problem, is there are men and women in this room that knew you were coming here before July of 25. You knew it. This project doesn't take just a couple of months to plan. It does not. It takes well over that to come here. And I'm still speaking. You knew you were coming here before July of 25. You chose not to tell any one of us on this board about that, so we could not change our zoning in time to fix these problems. So now we have to rely upon the state. We want the Power Act to pass. You want your foot in the door, so we can't change the zoning. That's why you're here. Is that correct? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that this is only a 2-month project you had planned.
We do not make a decision to come here 12 to 18 months in advance. There's a lot of boxes to check, obviously, before we can decide if we're going to go to a place. The second you find out about an opportunity doesn't mean you go there. You have to run through the power studies. You have to have community engagement. You have to meet locally. You have to do a site plan. You have to run through a public forum. You have to run through a zoning board of appeals. You have to get the county board approval. To say that we knew, whenever you're surmising we knew we were coming, is false.
So this entire project, from inception to you sitting here today, was only a couple of months of work?
No.
So then why are you beating around the bush then? I'm asking you a very simple, straightforward question. You knew months before the zoning change that you were coming to Sangamon County.
I knew about the zoning change when we were starting to apply for the permit.
So it's sheer coincidence then that it just so happened that we changed the zoning and 3 months later, here you are. You had no clue about coming to Sangamon County before that.
We knew about this opportunity before that. But we knew about many, many opportunities and we were evaluating.
Understood.
But to say that we were gaming something, I think that's false.
So it's false that you had no intention to come here before July of 2025. The planning started in July of 25.
We were aware of the project. We're aware of many, many projects, and it's happening right now. People make us aware of projects where these kind of conversations are happening, and people are considering data center ordinances and setting up data centers. Like, okay, well, I mean, I guess we'll see if they pass a data center ordinance. For us, it's usually, okay, there is support, there is guidelines for data center development in this county. It's encouraged to a degree. We appreciate that there at least was a dialogue and awareness around standards before we showed up. Other places won't do that and have a different approach. So honestly, the passage of the data center ordinance was a good signal that, okay, there's been some thought, there's been some dialogue here about the industry. There's something to step into.
Chairman, how much time do I have left? 40 seconds. So I really hope you're going to be a good neighbor to Member Hall. I mean, that's the district that's most impacted by this. But we in this county love talking about comparables. You're comparable to Aurora. Those residents don't know a moment's rest because of your data center. They can't sleep. Their homes vibrate and buzz. I hope you prove us wrong by that. But so far you have not. Q3 of this year is ridiculous. They have to put up with that noise until Q3 of this year. It's been happening for over a year. And you want to expand and come here and expect us to just take it when this is like 4 times larger than one in Aurora? You have a lot of minds to sway. I hope you can sway them, and I hope that this is approved. You prove me wrong tonight.
That's time.
mark because there was an article in Illinois Times. This started in 2024. So it seems like I was just getting ready to come and push something down my throat. Then you send an invitation to the minorities on the county board to come and educate us so we'll know the benefits and what's going to happen on the east side. Well, I heard you mention Waverly, Auburn, Chatham, no Springfield. So what are you planning on doing for Springfield that you wanted us to come out to educate us? What do you have for us?
We have jobs. That's not a order. That's not a comment. I mean, will people from Springfield work at this facility? Will people from Springfield build this facility? This is what we talked. We have a number of speakers here talking. I imagine some or most of these people live in Springfield. The PLA, the Project Labor Agreement, is about using local union workforce. Local means Springfield, means Sangamon, means this region. There's a Project Labor Agreement to use local work, and the laughter about jobs is disheartening because they're real. They're real jobs, and they're real opportunities, and there's real pathways from an apprenticeship to a journeyman over the course of the next 5 years for the people that wish to work on this project.
Okay, past practices have been showing at the other data centers that most of the workers aren't even from the city where you're building it at. So where are the workers coming from? We got a PLA, but what other county or what other state you gonna bring in?
In Chicago, they come from Chicago. They come from the Chicagoland region. If we're out we have these facilities, much like this, we have facilities that are in remote areas. We're driven by the location of infrastructure. In Texas, you can get to be in pretty rural areas. You can be in places that are vast ranchlands or open space, but there's infrastructure there. And so in Bosque County, Texas, we have 700 to 1,000 people working there. Are they all from Bosque County? No. They have to come from somewhere else. But the benefit of being here in Springfield, with the population base we have here, with a strong union workforce, it's better to step into. It's a workforce and it's a talent pool that we can draw from. When we bring people from the coast, our tenants come into our facilities in Chicago, and they look at the workmanship done by the union hands there, they're amazed. We get so many compliments about how everything aligns perfectly, the craftsmanship, this little detail, that little thing, things you don't see in other places. Illinois is known for their workforce and for their labor pool, and it's no different here in Central Illinois. And so having this talent pool here and these people with the skill sets ready to deliver on this project is a huge asset to a project like ours. And it's something we're thrilled and excited to tap into.
Ms. Small, you have the floor, Ms. Small. You have the floor. You finished? Ms. Douglas-Williams.
I sit here and I listen to a whole bunch of everything. I've been on the committee for zoning. We did solar, wind, and we listened, and then everything was gone, and when anyone had any problems, they didn't have anyone to speak to. My thing is, I want to do something different. The old saying is, if you see something, say something. Well, I'm going to say something. I am more concerned about our babies and what will they have left over from taking all the land and making data centers, whatever you want to call them. And what happens to those kids? See, because at 77, I will be gone. I'm not crazy. God didn't bring us here to keep us here forever. So what happens to these babies, the grandkids, the great-grandkids, the grandkids after that? Who is actually looking out for them? Besides you running around getting labor and everything, I'm a union person. Have been for a long time with the state of Illinois. But that still doesn't excuse the simple fact is, it's about somebody else also. And until we start believing in ourselves as God's children, and we start taking care of each other, we're always going to have problems. Because somebody else has a little bit more to give than somebody has to lose. And if you guys are really serious, think about the future. This doesn't stop just here. What about those babies that's coming up? Where are they going to work? AI, the way I understand it, because I have done a lot of research on this, because it did bother me. AI is going to what? Educate our children? And then our kids don't have any skills because they go to the phone and to find out what is to be taught. You take away jobs that really has helped, and you lose so much because of somebody's bright idea that we need more data service because we have so much information out there. You have a whole lot of information. You have a whole lot of cheap information. But when you sit back and think about it, guys, do me a favor. Think about these babies that are coming up. You got children. You're just not going to stop here in Illinois. They may come where you live. So you need to seriously think about what do we do for the upcoming children. And I understood the water, the electricity, all of that, but I very, very seldom heard about these babies. Because they're going to need a job too. They're going to have a family also. They're going to need a house also. So when we run around here trying to act like everything's okay, it's really not. Because this is a crazy world right now. And it's getting worse. And we have to think bigger than today, April the 7th, 2026. That's all.
Please proceed, yeah.
So I was on the zoning committee when the conversation first started. I do understand Mark Ayer's concerns and position, and I can't speak to that, but I understand where there are red flags raised in regard of what came first and how we got to this point. But I also know that I represent a district, and a district that has many challenges. I represent a district that has a lot of opportunities, a lot of people with potential, that with the right opportunities, that their whole life can change. I also know that, and I believe the lady who, she said in here, I'm sorry, I forget your name, you had the yellow, you were in her, how you doing? And she talked about a responsibility in terms of health and the environment. And so as a public health professional, those were some of my immediate concerns in terms of what is this going to do to the environment. I really started to dig deep and get in the weeds and around the water, and I learned about the benefits of the lake and how those resources weren't available, but from an environmental standpoint, those resources would be able to change the ecosystem in that area. I also raised questions about the internal water system, and that was very beneficial. I also was concerned because I own property, I have a home, and I have a family, and our utility bills are increasing. I mean, that's just the reality that we live in. And so I also learned more about the co-op and how the way that system works, that over time there will be a reduction in utility costs, because that is definitely not the system as a resident of Springfield that I have access to in terms of utilities. Going back to my community, and if anyone knows me, you know that consistently I've always worked to do work around STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math for our children. And so that was a priority for me because it doesn't make a lot of sense to have a data center and to build a data center, but not be able to start to train our children in innovation and technology so that they can not only be operators in those systems, but to be able to interface from a career standpoint. And so when I started to have conversations with Cyrus One, those were my priorities in terms of what are some of the services that you'll be able to do from a community benefit. Some of the other, I come from a union family. I'm very proud to be, have been raised in a household where my dad got up, and I mean, it's cold outside, but it was really cold when he was putting 2 and 3 layers of long johns on, and the snow was up real high, and he was getting up every day to make sure his family was taken care of and working outside. And my uncles are electricians. I have an uncle who's a laborer. My ex-husband is a journeyman carpenter, so I understand how labor can change your life and add that value. And so, but I also know that in the district I represent, there are many men and women who, if they had those opportunities, it would be life-changing for them. And so those were some of the conversations that I had. I had those conversations regarding what is this PLA agreement going to look like? How is it going to benefit the people who live in my community? How is it going to benefit the people who live in Sangamon County? Do we have the workforce in Sangamon County to meet this long-term need from 4 to 6 years? As a business owner, another issue that was of concern to me was recognizing that there are vendors that are necessary to occupy this space. And those vendors look like landscapers, maintenance, IT individuals. And so my conversation is centered around, not only are we talking about that 100 permanent jobs that we were talking about that continue to come up in conversations, but also as business owners, we're creating opportunities as vendors for businesses to expand and grow their businesses, as well as provide living wage job opportunities.
20
in
seconds.
those spaces.
Like
And so I just want to say that I appreciate all the questions, some of the questions that have been challenging, some of the questions that may have, some people have been offended by, because we need to have these conversations, and we need to have these conversations. I may not agree with everyone, and everyone may not agree with me, but I do appreciate everyone for coming out. So
That's
thank
fine.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Latham. Has everyone spoken once who wishes? Ms. Valencia.
I have some questions for Cyrus One. Sorry. Illinois is kind of unique in the situation where our current governor has really pushed the renewables, and with that, I believe we've had less investment in power generation because the coal and gas-fired plants are, I think, they're going to be ceasing by 2045 is their goal. I'm not sure that's really practical, but that's what I believe I've been told. So one of my big concerns is with the utility rates and power generation. I know that we've heard from the experts that there's capacity. However, I'm also hearing rumors about data center coming in every cornfield from here to, the tip of southern Illinois. So, and all of those are large consumers of electricity, and heck, we hear their capacity and having to shut down Dahlman and all these things. So my question for you is, because something that bothered me is that there is no plan for any increased power generation, and I know it's kind of standard in a lot of places to include some solar projects along with, so you're at least compensating somewhat on what you're doing there. And I don't consider power contracts to be, increasing generation. But so my question for you is, have you looked at the Illinois Power Act and have you taken a position on it? And I just wanted that answer first, I guess.
Yeah, we've been hearing rumblings about it and understand it's in, various stages of debate. And so, we've heard about it, but until something's actually approved and passed, it's much like a lot of other things we hear about, things that are proposed or talked about at a legislative level.
So, I can't get a clear answer because each depends on who you ask, whether or not this data center, if we approve it tonight, would be subject to the Power Act if it passes next month. And I know I've seen legislation where they write in dates constructed before this date or after that date, whether or not you would be subject to the requirements of the Power Act. Are you guys, this is hard to even say, but I would love for you to say that you're going to comply with whatever the state passes, even if you're grandfathered out.
It's not,
And I just would.
we don't know what it will say or when it will pass or if it will pass. So
That's why I'm comfortable voting tonight. The other question that I have is, has Cyrus One or any of your folks, not asking you to disclose any of them, that to your knowledge, have any of them taken the pledge, the federal pledge to increase power generation?
Sorry. So they're all talking about it, right? I think it's a little misguided, right? This is just my opinion, but telling the data center they have to go build their own generation creates a whole bunch of environmental issues that we are avoiding right now, right? Because we're connecting to the grid, and the grid has solar on it, it has wind on it, it has gas. Most of the coal is going to be on, and it has nuclear on it, right? We invest in solar projects across the country. And they are PPAs ultimately, like we actually fund that project through a PPA. So if that opportunity existed right now, we would definitely look at it. Solar development has definitely stalled due to federal regulations. We have a carbon-free goal by, what's the date? By 2030 for the company. But I think the most important thing for that piece is our tenants are the largest purchasers of renewable energy in the world by like 20 times any other industry. And typically in this type of facility, those customers will actually procure their own power and green their own power to make sure that it is carbon free. Did that answer that whole question?
Yes and no. I guess I'm just very concerned that if the private industry doesn't commit to increasing the power generation capacity by paying for that we will ultimately have to build new power plants or fund those things. And Illinois, even though we have this push for solar and wind in our state, from what I understand, we are not a prime location for either one of those things. But so those are just my concerns, and I was just hoping to hear that there's something that you're actively pursuing in power generation.
Yeah, so every data center developer is looking at active power generation, right? In most locations today, you can't call the power company and get a study done in 12 months. In most locations, that is 3 to 7 years. So a lot of those locations for developers like us and the large tech companies, there's a huge effort right now to build generation. But ultimately, the goal is that generation connects to the grid, right? And the logic there is, okay, so private companies are going to fund all of this generation. And that will compel the utilities to connect to that generation so they have capacity for it. But, this has to be balanced, right? If the data centers build all the generation and connect it only to their data center, then does the grid actually need more capacity, right? So it's a very challenging regulatory conversation, and we're having it, obviously the Illinois Power Act, we're having it in Texas, we're having it in Virginia, so it's a real thing. But generation is going to get built for data centers in the short term. Not at this site, but in the short term.
Okay, that's pretty much my, questions that I have regarding that. I wish there was a clear way, and I will tell you, I feel like that our community is oftentimes saying no to economic development projects whenever we really should say yes. And I think that There are other votes that I've seen in our community, I don't know, 100% I would be behind it. This one, I am still for it, but I'm also against it. It is a very tough decision to make, and for everybody on the board, I hope nobody's decision against you. I think we all are struggling. And for all of you out there, we have heard you loud and clear, angry, happy, whatever, but ultimately it falls on us to make the decision, and it's not an easy one. So I hope you respect that.
Thank you. Has everyone who wishes to speak once spoken? Very good. Mr. Mendenhall, you wish to speak again? Nothing further? Does any board member wish to speak further? Mr. Guyton, you've used all your time.
All my time, I thought that we had a second chance to ask another question.
No, you have 5 minutes and you used all your time.
Yeah, that's what I was
You used all your time as well. Anyone else wishing to speak? Ms. Small, you have 4 minutes left.
Okay.
Ms. Small.
Okay, can you hear me? All right, I just want to make a comment to all you county board members. Look out there, those are your constituents. We work for them. We don't work for the county.
Put the sign down, folks. Come on.
I ask y'all all to think about your constituents. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak on the subject? Seeing no one wishing to speak on the subject, the question occurs on the resolution. Those wishing to grant the zoning will vote yes. Those wishing to oppose the zoning will vote no. The clerk will call the roll.
Ayers?
No.
Cameron?
Yes.
Constant? Davsco?
Yes.
Diener?
Yes.
Delgerno?
Yes.
Debbie?
No.
Douglas Williams?
No.
Forsythe?
No.
Frazee?
Yes.
Fulgenzi?
Yes.
Guyton?
No.
Hall?
No.
Krell?
Yes.
Lathan?
Yes.
Madonia?
Yes.
McGuire?
Yes.
Mendenhall?
No.
Miller?
Yes.
Rader?
Yes.
Scaife?
I have something to say on behalf of my constituents.
No, Kathy, our rules don't allow explaining your vote. I'm sorry.
No. Shackman?
Yes.
Shepherd?
No.
Small?
No.
Stump?
Yes.
Thomas? Chumlin?
Yes.
Truax?
Yes.
At some point, we'll
Have all voted who wish? Have all voted who wish? On this question, the yeas are 17, the nays are 10, with 1 abstaining. The resolution is adopted and zoning is granted.
Yeah.
Bill. I think the feed went out a few minutes ago. I'll talk to the guy. It's all right.